I'm leading the lights. Leading the lights.
How do you activate your content? How do you create those experiences and take them kind of across those different platforms? Because as we all know, it's not enough today just to be able to do something on TV. It's great to be able to do something on TV, but we need much more if we want to keep the conversation alive, to kind of create those experiences. And as you can see, there's a lot of platforms, that we can play with today. So basically, what we're trying to aim for today is kind of give you some tools, give you some research about what does it take to do this long-term branding. What's needed in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the experiences. And also, of course, then how do you then get them, activated across those different platforms? See here, Nike have over the last 4 or 5 years completely changed the way they go to market with their brands, with their products. And really changed the approach from ads, from traditional ads to experiences. And I think there's a very good learning there for a lot of us. And I know, it's easy, you're Nike, you're a big advertiser, but there's a lot of things to be learned from Nike, and there's a lot of things to take away for other brands, even though they're not in sports and they're not a Nike. So Nike has kind of, and again, I know it's scary if you like doing TV advertising. They've dramatically cut down on the TV advertising spend and the production of the TV ads. Instead, what they have tried to do is create a lot of lighthouse experiences for the consumers. If you're not looking for it and you're not a target, you might haven't seen all the pieces of content they've created, because they've really become a huge content producer.
Consumers own brands today, we don't. And that means if you hand over the brand to the consumer and they run with it, then you will see in the end of the day that will be the power. Because if you can get the consumer with you, that's exactly what I talk about in my book, Brand Wash. If you can get the consumer on your side and they systematically spread the word of mouth, then you're really getting there.
The challenge that brands have today versus 10 years ago is that brands have to be built very differently. We can't market at people, we can't talk to people. A really good brand is going to be of value. A really good brand is going to engage with someone on terms they care about. They're going to engage in something that people are passionate about. Digitas, we call it building an active brand, but really it's universal. And when you talk about music as touching every single one of us, depending on where we were in our time, I think the future of these partnerships is going to be depending on having a brand understand what people are passionate about and using music as a way to connect passions, not just, as you say, to put a piece of music on what we used to think of as a 30-second spot. This is precisely where brands have to come in.
Right.
Because brands today offer more platforms. Brands today can be part of the discovery of artists.
Mm-hmm. So that they can understand how to build relationships with people who love music, and also build relationships with brands and integrate marketing partnerships around that programming. So we're only 18 months in the marketplace, but we're finding that we have over 400 brands on the Vivo platform today, and we just hit 63 million viewers in the US in May. So it's resonating, and we're able to harness the passion and enthusiasm for music and channel it into a real scalable business.
For me, I just think that what you guys are, what this whole panel is about is like really honestly the future. And if we look at it correctly, there could be a great future for music that doesn't necessarily depend on brands, but live a lot better juxtaposed to brands. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Live a lot better juxtaposed to brands. So put that in the context of one of your brands and how you would see the connection in using your music to help market your brand. And then if you can, just briefly extend that to another marketer.
Well, first of all, I think our biggest problem, you know, just as a species, is that we always look at the now. We always judge our problems from now versus looking at history and the way that history works and what works for like mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, music is a part of, it's a part of everybody's everyday. It's a part of your senses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every memory you've ever had is backed with a sound,
Music.
and a smell, and, you know, visual information, and sometimes kinesthetic information, and that's how all memories are based. So when you think about, like, you know, your summer of, you know, your high school years, it's defined by what music was playing at that time, what you were wearing, all those things. So if we look at music in that way, then you pull back from the mosaic, the answers start to really come to you, the bigger picture starts to come to you. And for me, I just feel like, look, what's a commercial without a song?